Welcome to my show. This is Bhubalan. So I have a scenario like my applications keep crashing it, but I'm not owning that code. Typically, this kind of scenario is very rare to get it. But what if you get into such a scenario where your applications keep crashing for some reason, but you couldn't find it what it is due to this particular crash? Your application crash free user rate is going to typically down to 70 percentage, 80 percentage kind of things. Mostly the expectation is your crash free rate should be 99.9 percentage. What happened to my case is I was using the Big Bus Tamil applications. Actually, this application is very well since last year, I could say. After that, I just upgraded so many things, which is most of the things are comes from the third party. So what happened was, whenever I just put application in the background and spending some time in any other application, and then coming back and resuming this application, sometime the application used to crash for the null point exceptions. That's why my particular crash free rate is drastically come down to 80 here. I try to put a fix, but it's not working as expected. This what happened was, if crash free percentage goes down, typically Play Store doesn't recommend your application for some user if somebody searching for Big Boss Summer kind of things. Okay, so typically it will say that this your application is behaving so bad, we should not refer this kind of. Maybe they would have some algorithm behind the scene that would stop the Play Store to suggest application. I assume that. Okay, don't quote me on this. So that's where I find this solution. Like I just created something like an exception handler, which I just called inside the onCreated method of this particular applications class. So whenever the exceptions caught, showing some generic exception, generic error message, I could say, and I'll be providing them with the two option where it has like a restart or just close. So typically restart will restart everything from the scratch, like application will be restarted from this splash screen. Just close means we just close this particular dialogues and just keep the application to work as expected if it's possible. So second one is little bit risky. What if the particular activity is like keep throwing the exceptions, and then what will happen? Like even if you say just close, is keep on throwing that particular dialog because that particular exception is not been handled in that particular case. So typically restart would be the better solution, but hopefully if the user keeps seeing the dialog and again and again, you would prefer to click the restart. So that's why I provided these two options. Okay, this is a dialog, just a dialog. And then other end, what exactly this exception handler does. So wherever the exception occur, this particular function will be get intercepted, and that exception will be comes over here. So what exactly I do is there is an initialization function where I just creating the getting the object of thread dot get default uncatch exception handler. Then I'm just putting the listener for it. Okay, that gonna gives me thread and exceptions. So here I say the handle exception is just another function. It's gonna return true if I handle the exception. Of course, I'm handling the exceptions here, right? That's why I'm giving it true. If exception is not handled, then I'm not doing anything. If not, I'm just saying the default handler uncatch exception. This will, if I return false, what will happen is log the exception, and then it makes the application to be crash as usual. Okay, so this one I don't want to be happen. That's why I just call this function. I return it true always. Okay, so what exactly I do inside this one? So whenever you catch such exception, you have to make sure that the exception has been recorded in the Firebase in some other way. Okay, actually if you let the crashes happen as it is, this number gradually goes down as I told you. But if you catch this exception and record it as a record exception, there is other option like record exceptions. You can see it here. I said I just created the analytical logger, which is nothing but just like another class, helper class, I could say here log exception. What it does is it just takes Firebase, does class analytics, and then say it says like record exception. I'm just throwing this exceptions here. So in that case, what will happen is it will show that particular exception, but it doesn't show that as a crash kind of thing. So typically this number will not get impacted if you handle it properly. It will consider as okay custom exception kind of things. Okay, but you have to make sure that this kind of exception will be identify the root causes, and fixing has to be done as soon as possible to make sure this doesn't impact your customer functionality, I could say. Okay, so here I log the exception, then I'll just accessing the main loop, throw the handlers, and then you're just calling this callback. So callback would be the whenever you created this particular exception, you provide the callback, right? This callback is the one that where we are just throwing some pop-up to the user whenever the crashes occur. Okay, I clearly tested it. I just put a custom exception whenever I run it. When exceptions occur, the wherever the exception would occur in your application, this particular function will be get fired due to this particular listener, and this code will be executed and doesn't, which means your application never ever gonna crash anymore. Okay, but this is a very bad practices. Don't use it. Use it only when needed, especially like something is not in your control and you just wanted to cover something. Okay, that's it for now. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching the video. Please do subscribe this channel. Also, please download this application, Big Boss application. I fixed all the crashes, trust me. I fixed all the crashes. This is a very good application. So and even I give the source code as free for everyone, so you could see that source code information in the descriptions. And this application is all about like tracking the Big Boss events, like who's nominated whom, and you can vote it, and you can able to track the behavior of each user, and you can see the performance, and you can see the graph where you can see like how much percentage of vote they got through the Tamil Gullets. That's the most trusted partner we ever see for unofficial votings. Keep supporting me. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching the video again. Bye bye.